Kaijus, giant, city-destroying monsters that come from the sea, the sky, from outer space. These beasts are practically indestructible, unimaginable. But someone has to take them on. Humanity's strongest, bravest, toughest armed forces. In this story, we learn about these people. This is Kaiju number 8 by Naoya Matsumoto. What's up? Just doing some audio tests. What's up? Hello. Welcome to Manga Mondays, a bi-weekly show where I recommend you great or interesting manga. If you're new here or haven't hit that like, comment, subscribe button already, you know what to do. Today, we're continuing to talk about some newer manga I missed during the first half of this year with my Fujimoto marathon. I was busy with that, but it didn't take me 6 months to read this stuff just to edit it. I think I'll have a couple more of these coming. Today we're talking about Kaiju number 8. From the beginning, this was a pretty unique one. Sure, a lot of manga get to the giant stuff eventually, but usually it's in the end game. It's rare we get to see this stuff so early on, much less get to know an army of fighters that are fighting these giant beasts, unless we're talking about Gundams. And despite how huge it was and is, not many copycats came out of Attack on Titan, unfortunately. The only one that really comes to mind that stuck around is World Trigger, and that's currently on hiatus, but from what I read it was pretty good, so I'm glad it happened. But Kaijus make sense, right? Why don't we have more mainstream Kaiju fighter manga? Monster of the Week stories are all the rage right now, and Kaijus are just that. Should be easy. But Kaiju number 8 doesn't take things easy, it's exceptional. For not just being a story with fun Kaiju, but more importantly being a fast-paced, character-driven story that bleeds world building. To give you the initial plot, it's about our main dude Kafka, who's on a Kaiju cleanup crew. It's a neat concept, where he's been for years. He used to dream of being on the defense force with all the fighters, but while his childhood friend made it there, he was left behind. He's great at his job, but you get the sense that he's not really going anywhere. When a young new guy joins his crew, he's reminded that this is essential, what he's doing, and he does matter. Because he's been cleaning up their guts, he knows Kaiju, and he's been working hard at what he does for a long time. He's got 1 year left to qualify for the defense force, so him and this new guy, Leno, take the exams together to give it a shot, and make that dream happen. Their friendship is wonderful and inspirational, I love what they have together, and everyone they meet along the way is memorable too. More importantly, each of these characters they meet gets multiple chapters and group scenes to have a chance to stand out and to not be forgotten. Normal stuff like eating and bathing, but they make jokes and you're like, okay, I know who Iharu is. And yeah, he's a fiery asshole, he's kind of a Bakugo character, but he isn't that way all the time. He has depth. He's the kind of dude you could write a wiki article about and have multiple things to say and not just say, he is this archetype. Before long, Kafka and his crew have their first big battle in these, gaunt suits, but they work more like Evangelion units, where the more you work with them and the more you synchronize with this suit, the more power you can get out of it. Kafka's got 1% in the beginning, but the top captains will have 50 to 90% or something crazy, and they can just destroy giant monsters with their suits because they've synced with them so much and they're so skilled. In this first battle, Kafka's able to prove himself as a valuable team member despite his sync ratio because he's got this knowledge of the Kaijus. One thing leads to another, and he also inherits a part of a Kaiju, giving him an ability that puts him in danger from the team who he's grown to love as he has to hide this side of himself. I won't spoil much more than that because I think a lot of it's really interesting as it develops. A lot has happened in these 39 chapters that we have so far, and the story has a really brisk pace, but it makes great use of its time. It'll stretch certain scenes over a couple chapters that need the length, and other ones that'll condense to move things along. This is one thing I was talking about that is really well shown in my Spy X Family versus Mission Yozakura family video of making use of your time. I think Kaiju number 8 balances that really well. Speaking of taking its time, it's on Manga Plus, which is a fantastic site by Shueisha. Those are words I never thought I'd say. Who owns Jump and mostly everything else. It's a free site where you can read manga like this one without paying a dime. I couldn't believe how user-friendly it was for a mainstream manga site. You Google this thing and the first result is people are like, is Jump Plus illegal? Is this a real site? But more importantly than that, how user-friendly it is, and it being free, which is great for a manga site, is the deadlines on the mangaka appear to be more lax on this website, so they can kind of dictate their own schedule or release little bite-sized chapters. World Trigger, which I mentioned earlier, is on an indefinite hiatus right now because of health issues, which is not at all uncommon for manga, likely due to the notoriously back-breaking mangaka schedule, but Manga Plus says screw that, take your time, as far as I can tell. Kaiju number 8 will have weeks where they just post 1 or 2 pieces of promo art and be like, hey guys, we'll see you next week, taking a break this week, or we're working on it, or whatever. And that's awesome to see. and I really appreciate that. And this online format allows them to post whatever they would like, and that's really cool. And Kaiju number 8's pretty cool too. You should check it out. It's not very long. It's like Lost Planet meets Zedman. What more could you want? Remember Zedman? That's kind of a deep cut. Well, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week with a new recommendation. Peace. I'm finally back to sparkling waters after drinking those 38 of them in that last video. It's in like little cans.